if you are having your rights violated, I'm going to come to your aid because I want people to come to my aid. I mean, where's the special interest for the individual? Where's the special interest for families? Where's the special interest for business owners? Where is it? I want real unity around liberty. And it's the only future we have, folks. And that's why they attack the Bible so much, because it's all in there if we'd follow it. People say, well, the religion's done all this. That's people twisting it. Okay, well, let me introduce them both. Eric Lee, of course, businessman arrested for loitering, carrying legal gun on his own property. He'd been harassed over being a gun owner. This is happening to us in Texas as well, folks. Your neighbor doesn't like you having guns, the police come. And he was arrested. His gun's taken. He hasn't gotten them back. This is an incredible story. So, David Knight, please introduce his lawyer and him here on air, and then I've got some questions, but I'm on the road here. Go ahead. Mr. Lee, tell us who your lawyer is.
Shannon Briley.
Okay, well, fantastic. Who would like to speak first? Tell us what happened to you.
Oh, I'll start it. I was working, and I got off work, and on my way to the car, I figured I left my gun, so I had to run back in the store and get my gun. And there were some guys outside, just local guys that I know, and they was asking me questions, wanted to talk to me. And so I talked to them for a second before I got in my truck, and the police pulled up. And they said, what's going on out here? They had a car probably across the street or something. They seen us outside, and they said, do you have any drugs, any weapons? And I said, I have a gun on me, but it's my store gun. As soon as I said I had a gun, they just handcuffed me and threw me in the back of the car. And I said, if you would let me finish, I would have I could show you my license in my back pocket. So he didn't take the cuffs off. They left me cuffed, and he went into my back pocket and pulled out my license and ran it. And one of the cops, they were betting on me. One of them said, I guarantee you, I bet you the gun's stolen. And so the other guy he ran my license. He said, well, it's not stolen. And he said, he cursed and said, damn. And I said to the officer, I said, are you serious? Are you mad because I'm doing the right thing out here? And he just told me to be quiet, and he walked off. And so the other officer, I said, just do the right thing, man. What's going to happen? He said, well, I can't do nothing right now. I got to wait for my sergeant to come. And so his sergeant finally came with probably like 6 more police officers. And they told me my gun was registered, but it came up as a different caliber gun, but my numbers matched. And I said, well, I didn't put the thing in the system. I got all my records right here. And he said, well, we can't figure it out, so just take them to jail and we'll let the courts figure it out. And that's what happened.
And I want to get into what else happened to you and not getting the guns back. But here's the deal, and I know the Georgia laws as well. And I know we have your lawyer, Shannon Briley, who I'm very excited to know that we were able to get on. The guys that sent me the list, I'd overlooked it, so I apologize for that. But my issue here is this a case of having self-defense while being black, like driving while black or standing at a bus stop while black? Or is this a case of owning a gun and not being part of the government? And because I see this happen to everybody, but I guess particularly black folks aren't allowed to defend themselves. I know in Chicago and D.C. it seems to be cities with a lot of black folks where they deny people the Second Amendment, so only the criminals have it. My issue is, you could have had a gun anyways as a business owner on your own property or in your car under Georgia law. It's just like Texas law. They are now arresting people in Texas and other areas who will have a rifle on the back of your truck that's totally legal. They just say, I'm going to go ahead and take you in anyways. And then, as Ammo Land reported, you have to spend more on lawyers to get your gun back than what it's worth. And so this is really a criminal authoritarian action. So tell folks what else happened once you went to jail. Your lawyer, Shannon Briley, jump in any time to tell us where this is going. But, I mean, this is basically a kidnapping. It's official oppression. But because the police are doing it, I guess it's okay, according to them.
And then what happened next was they went in and took me to jail. They towed my car. And I had to bond out of jail and then pay money to get my car back out. And that's about it on that. And then I had to call. I went to court, and the judge and everybody apologized and said I shouldn't be here. They're sorry that I had to go through that. And they just dropped all the charges. And they said I would talk to somebody if I was you.
Have they given your gun back yet?
No, sir. They gave me the runaround when I got my papers from the court to go get my gun, and I took it to the place they told me to take it to, and they gave me, they said I got to get in contact with that officer. So I called the officer's headquarters, and they kept giving me the runaround. They gave me about 6 different precincts to check. They said, go here, he's not here, try this precinct, try this precinct. So I got in my car and I rode, and I took pictures of all the precincts I went to. Then I called so much that the dispatch, they would tell me that, your best option is to just drive up. He gets here at, like they said, like 9 o'clock. He gets here at 9 and just pull up and jump out on him. That's your best way to catch him. I said, okay.
Now, I mean, I think you're alluding to that. Do you think somebody tattled on you for exercising the right to have a firearm for your own business? Because I see that it's an unclaimed freight and a grocery store, furniture. I mean, it's the type of place that would get robbed. I mean, if a business owner can't have a gun, I mean, I guarantee you, if I ran a convenience store or a store like yours, especially outside Atlanta, I mean, I guarantee you I'd be packing.
Yeah.
What's so egregious about this is that the average response time for officers in this area is well over an hour, particularly during shift changes and late at the evening or early in the afternoon. So if he was put into a situation wherein he had to defend himself or his family that owns the business, he wouldn't be able to do so without a firearm. This is an area that have repeated robberies, and law enforcement had initially suggested to him to get a firearm to keep the location. And, what's so egregious about this incident with DeKalb County is that this wasn't just the actions of one rogue officer. This incident was co-signed by a supervisor on every level, initially by his immediate supervisor, then by the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners. And Mr. Lee filing a lawsuit was a last resort. He didn't just jump into this. We sent a letter to DeKalb County Internal Affairs informing them what happened. We sent a letter to the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners informing them what happened. And we have gotten no response. It's been well over a year. So
well, that's right. I mean, I should have pointed out. This is systemic. I should have pointed out this is a year ago. You're suing. Of course, I missed making the big point. Thank you so much for bringing it up, Shannon Briley, the lawyer for Mr. Lee. And when Mr. Lee's rights are violated, all of our rights are violated. And obviously, mid-level police that are smart say, get a gun, you're having a lot of crime problems. But then higher up, the politicos want to persecute gun owners. And they have persecuted his human rights, his civil rights. This is a big violation. Where do you go from here? What is the lawsuit calling for?
Right now, it's in federal court. Of course, they've filed a motion to dismiss, which is completely have no basis for. But he's not trying to punish the taxpayers. But at this point, he wants reasonable compensation for what he has been through. There's the claim. We have allegations here of battery, false imprisonment. We understand, and both of my parents were police officers, and I was a police officer for 7 years in Atlanta. I know cops have a hard job. But the problem with this situation is that the officers weren't in a situation where they had to make a split-second decision. They had all of the facts available to them, and to dispel probable cause. And they looked at it and they gave it the middle finger and said, "No, we're going to make an arrest anyway, even though it's private property, even though he had the license, and even though he's not a convicted felon." So
how do they claim you can't loiter at a business that you work at and own? I mean, so I've got like rifles. In my office at the radio studio. I mean, are the cops going to come arrest me because I'm loitering?
If you live in DeKalb County, they might.
So where is this coming from? I mean, I hope they all lose their job. I hope you get $1 million. This is how we punish corruption, or my guns are next. Why are they doing this? I mean, is this some kind of political directive? Or?
Well, I believe there's a lot of pressure on officers to make arrests. It's called getting bodies. You have to have a certain amount of bodies a week, or else you get punished and sent to morning wash. Instead, the upper echelon of the police department, they don't need to be looking at who's getting bodies. They need to look at who's getting convictions. They need to look at the case as it's carried out, or who's making arrests that lead to negotiated pleas. They don't need to be looking at just who's pulling in bodies. So it comes from the top saying, bring us in these bodies. And, if they want a job that doesn't require any thought, they need to, get a job at a factory, putting bolts on a car or on a machine. They don't need to become police officers where people's liberty depends on, their decisions. They had all the information available.
Absolutely. I mean, in the past, you wanted to get bust and actually get real criminals. Now let's just get as many. In fact, I've talked to DWI Task Force Police, and they're honest about it. I've had them in studio, former ones that are gone on to be lawyers. We'll come back and talk about this. That's why I know people that have been arrested just for saying, no, I hadn't been drinking and smarting off. They go, fine, I'm just taking you in anyways. Because it's not about getting a quota on convictions or even indictments or, things that are a real case. It's just raw arrest, arrest, arrest.
Exactly.
And a police supervisor came to the scene and approved of the arrest, and the county still will not return his gun. He's filed a federal lawsuit. And I love how his lawyer is such a nice lady, and he's so nice. They're apologizing for the lawsuit. It's time we start suing when the government violates our rights, because they're in Congress having hearings now about Obama becoming a dictator, basically, and doing whatever he wants, and the other agencies just acting how they want. The government is out of control. So Eric Lee and your lawyer, Shannon Briley, anything else you guys would like to add about where this is going? Please don't apologize for fighting for my rights and everybody else's rights. God bless you.
Thank you. We just hope that law enforcement can learn from this and understand that their job it's very important, and they serve a very important purpose. And it requires that every single call they go on, they put the thought into it that it requires. It's like a medical doctor or any other very serious profession. And we just want training to occur and learning to occur here, so this doesn't continue to happen.
Yeah, she said it all. She said it all, and all I can say, I just want them to just do the right thing, and I just want justice for everybody. Just do the right thing.
Looking at this, I mean, I'm sure you guys are aware, Ammo Land and the NRA have all reported on it. But I know almost everyone I know, including a pretty famous gun person with a national gun TV show. Let's leave it at that, because I know, because I'm friends with him, and he's had the police repeatedly called to his little ranch with a shooting range and a berm, and I'm not trying to be mean. It's true. It's Californians that have moved here. They call the police on you when they hear shooting. I know people that have 200-acre ranchettes that are out in the middle of nowhere. People hear gunshots, and the cops come sometimes and actually take your guns or arrest you. I had the manager of a store come up just last week and said it happened to him on his 200-something-acre family piece of property. The DPS came in and they said, your neighbors felt scared hearing the gunshots. You're going to jail. I mean, this is a reign of terror. Any comments on that?
I think with a lot of the mass shootings, there's such a stigma now to weapons in general that the police can go in there and arrest somebody who has a gun just because guns in general have become so stigmatized. And people don't understand that we have fundamental, basic constitutional rights to own a weapon, to prevent the government from getting too big and taking away our rights and living in a police state. And they don't understand that the isolated acts of certain individuals who abuse weapons should not be used to taint our rights, in the entire population. So I think
exactly, and I mean, increased gun ownership since 1992 has caused a 51% drop in violent crime. That's the FBI's own numbers.
Right, exactly.
Guns are making us safer.
Right. If people were afraid that whoever they were going up to rob or burglarize was armed, they would, certainly think twice before going and committing these crimes. And
sure.
Citizens, law-abiding citizens in the Metro Atlanta area wouldn't be terrorized by crime. If the police want their call volume to decrease, they should encourage law-abiding citizens, to have weapons.
Absolutely. Eric, in closing, did you say, I'd be laughing at these police and saying, shame on you, when they took me to jail for no reason. What did you say to them in the squad car?
We just talking because, I couldn't say too much because when we pulled off, I said, man, why are you doing this? I said, just do the right thing. You know you're wrong. You know you have nothing. He said, well, it's not up to me anymore. And he turned his music up all the way on full blast and took off flying down the road.
So in closing, Eric, anything else you'd like to add? You're the victim of this, the owner going out to their car, and any other tidbits or points you think people should know about where this lawsuit's going now, this federal lawsuit, because the county's done nothing?
All I can say is just beware of the police out there. And I don't know where it's going. We're trying to push and trying to get something done. But all I can say is just pray for us. We're trying to work. We're trying to get something solved for this.
I mean, I just saw the new New York police chief came out and said, trust us, we're your friends. Why are they having to talk like that? Because the police are being given political directives that are unconstitutional and aren't common law and aren't common sense. The police are wildly popular when they have good departments and follow the Bill of Rights. So the police, you're saying, again, talking to your lawyer, Shannon Braley, both your police were both your parents were Atlanta police. So growing up in that, I know you probably have a lot of inside baseball on it.
Right.
What do you think's happening here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was an officer for 7 years. A lot of times people in the community, they will contact the city council and make complaints, and then they'll complain to the white shirts, the upper echelon, and they'll be like, instead of thinking and having thoughtful dialogue with the officers, they'll be like, give me bodies, give me bodies. And, this is, again, like I said before, this is a job that requires thought. It's like being a surgeon or anything else. This isn't putting on parts to a machine in a factory. It requires thought to every single situation, and they don't encourage that. They just say, give me bodies. And, I believe that it's going to take, people, you're bringing things like this to light. That yes, it's terrible to have crime, and yes, we want the bad guys to be arrested, but not at the sacrifice of, basic fundamental, human rights we have.
But they knew him. They knew he had a concealed carry. I mean, they knew he didn't have a criminal record. They knew he was a good guy, and they still just said, okay, instead of saying they were wrong, which they weren't even wrong, instead of just saying, okay, false alarm, have a nice day, they had to take him to jail. It's that idea of, well, a lot of departments don't want to hire intelligent police now, and that's because the establishment wants a tyranny.
Exactly. And, he knew he was wrong. That's why he turned up the radio on the way to the jail. He knew he was wrong. He didn't want to feel guilted by, Mr. Lee. And, they count on people sweeping things under the rugs, like an arrest is no big deal. Well, it was a big deal for Eric. And, and it was a big deal that they continue to hold his property. So I think.
Oh, yeah, that's the big issue. Still hadn't got his gun back.
They continue to endorse this behavior.
Well, you're a good lawyer, Shannon Braley, and if I was ever in Georgia and needed one, I'll give you a call. Are there any websites we can visit? Are there ways we can support you guys?
You can go to www.brileylaw.com, BRILEYLAW.com, and I have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/BrileyLaw. And I'm sorry, I've been sick this week, so that's why my voice is hoarse.
Oh, you sound great. Listen, Eric Lee, God bless you for what you're doing. We'll check in with you again as the lawsuit develops, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
It's not about keeping guns out of the hands of law-abiding Americans, and I'm sick and tired of people lying to the American people.
We can't have a totally armed society.
We're not proposing a gun registration system. We're proposing background checks for criminals.
In the spirit of gun control, will you disarm your entire security team?
We'll get right back to you.
You'll get back to me?
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand? And that's why you're going to fail, and the establishment knows no matter how much propaganda, the Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns.